Hi folks, this is Jay. Hope you're okay today. It's good to see you, and I hope everybody's okay. I've been studying this afternoon, and I'm very touched with what I've been studying. I've been studying some of the leading scientists in evolution and genetics, and what I've been studying has led me to come to the conclusion that we need to declare an all-out war on evolution. I'm absolutely convinced, as I've been looking at the studying genetics, that it's time that we redoubled our efforts against evolution. It is not scientific. It is a draconian, totalitarian, anti-scientific worldview that is dominating our Western societies. It is forcing people to believe something without any scientific evidence, without any real scientific discussion and debate. And it's time that we call time on it. It's time we wage war on evolution. When I say wage war, I mean we redouble our efforts, we write the articles, we do the videos, we stand up against it. So those who are scientists, those who are philosophers, need to make a stand against it. It's the greatest lie of the modern age. It's the greatest mythology of modern age. It is blinding humanity and destroying humanity from seeing the reality of God the Creator. What is my evidence for what I'm saying? Now, what I'm going to say, the evolutionist and atheist, and the atheist will say, well, you know, Jay, we are atheists. We are not evolutionists, Jay. You know, evolution and atheism don't go in hand, because look, there are Christians over there who are theistic evolutionists. Well, I've got to say, those Christians who are into theistic evolution have caved in to man's ideas. They have not followed the Word of God. They are not biblical. If you are a theistic evolutionist, you are not biblical. You're a Judas. You've sold us out. You've sold us out. You're a Judas. You said, Jay, but St. Augustine taught that we can look at Genesis as an allegory. You are a Judas. If you follow theistic evolution, you have sold your brothers and sisters down the Swanee. Judas is your name. And every theistic evolutionist, we should call them Judases, for they are turning their back against the Christian faith. I love St. Augustine, and I respect him highly, but St. Augustine was not the Apostle Paul. He didn't have authority to say what is or is not when it comes to biblical truth. And the hypocrisy of the skeptics, the hypocrisy of the scientific community, propping up a theory that has no intellectual credibility and basis whatsoever. And I'm going to give you your death blow. I'm going to give you something in a minute that's going to completely destroy evolution before your very eyes. But the hypocrisy of you scientists and the hypocrisy of you atheists and skeptics who say we are not for evolution, we're just atheists or skeptics, it's hypocrisy. Because every moment, every time you get a chance, you want to push your evolution. You say we don't do witch hunts. You do witch hunts. The atheist and evolutionist do witch hunts against those who do not agree with evolution. They hound them. They hound PhD students. They hound scientists who would go against their beliefs, who would want to do new research against evolution. They are hounded. They are hounded. They are hounded, and I have tons of evidence on that. The reason why I'm so passionate is I'm so angry. I'm so angry at this evolution that is the greatest lie of our modern times. So what is my evidence? The second law of thermodynamics, it talks about that the whole universe is kind of winding down. The energy is winding down. There's decay within the universe. Okay? Now, evolution is about development of new biological structures. Okay? And in order to do that, one needs new genetic information to develop into new species. And yet, the second law of thermodynamics, if you apply it to genetics, to the genome, you can find solid evidence that actually we are losing information within the genome every minute of the day. And we are human beings in decay, genetically speaking, which is a direct contradiction concerning evolution. I'm sorry, folks, I'm just so passionate. I just get Dr. John Sanford gives us a bit of information here.
And in a sense, this is how the sort of the classical evolutionary thinking has gone. At least as I was taught it when I was in school. But you're really looking way above the subatomic level. You're looking at someone who's got 5 fingers, someone's got 6 fingers, or whatever the case may be. And through natural selection and survival of the fittest, the person who is most capable of dealing with environment and all of that wins. But what you're saying is it's way beyond that. There's a braille system, as you say, beneath those mattresses. And somehow that has to be detected.
It has to be detected, but it's inconceivable that
it's inconceivable it could be detected.
And so here's another example would be if you go to a middle school biology class, they would present it as in a very simple way. We have a group of organisms, and 2 or 3 of them are mutant, or they have some dysfunction, and 1 or 2 of them is extra good because it's had a beneficial mutation. So you just select away the bad individuals and let the best individual have extra children, and it's just all going to keep getting better. The reality is everybody's mutant, and basically all the differences, they're everybody carries tens of thousands of mutations, and the differences, each mutation has a minuscule effect, immeasurably small. So that the selection process is nothing to really grab hold of.
Right.
Yeah.
No foothold. Now, your book is called Genetic Entropy, which by its very title suggests something stunning. So much is predicated, again, on the evolutionary perspective, on new information being added, of new things being created. The point you make on the genetic level is that there's nothing new being created. Rather, what has been created is we're actually losing. Entropy, there's this principle of things slowing down, and you actually suggest in your book that just as we readily accept the universe's heat death one day, one day in the far future, we undergo a gene death. The human race no longer will have enough to survive.
So that's the reporter sort of defining Dr. Sanford, John Sanford's genetic entropy, and we've heard a little bit by Dr. John Sanford. But it's incontestable what this guy is saying. It's just incontestable. And as far as I'm concerned, we have to, I ask you to a call to arms to wage intellectual war against evolution. And I ask Christians to stop being Judases and following theistic evolution, but start to wage intellectual war against evolution. So I am going to redouble, treble, triple my efforts in combating evolution, which is not based on real science, but is based on myth. It's based on totalitarian KGB tactics, where you push people into line, and if they step out of line, you destroy their careers. That's what you do. And anybody who opposes you, you bring them down, and sometimes you bring them down in dirty tactics rather than proper intellectual discussion, dialogue and debate. So I ask everyone to follow and go forward and wage war, a call to arms against evolution. And you, Mr. Obama, should do a public inquiry as soon as possible into the persecution and the utter obscurantism of the evolutionist scientists in America the last 100 years, for they have consistently oppressed Christians who believe that God created the world in 6 days. They have been oppressed. They have been squashed, and their voice has been silenced. And it's time that you allow that people have their voice and say, and it's time it was taught in the schools of America and the schools of Europe that God created the world in 6 days. Okay? A public inquiry, Obama, and we are now waging war on evolution. A call to arms, folks. A call to arms.